Hey there, and welcome to the Weeb Lounge. I'm Nick, and this is episode 8 of The Day I Became a God. And spoilers abound in this one. This is a turning point episode. We learn a lot about Hina in this one. Now, when this episode opens up, Hina is having a dream, and what is in this dream? It's about Gramps, her grandpa. Now, her grandpa basically raised her, but here's the thing: when she wakes up, it's as if she's looking at her feet, and it's like she's relearning how to walk and how to use a computer and a bunch of other things. And the grandpa's like being really positive in this situation, being like, hey, you're a genius, you're really adept at this, you're really, really good. And apparently she's genius level at everything that she's doing pretty much. And then she wakes up, and it becomes one of these things where I guess it's a little awkward or something like that. So they're sitting around for breakfast and stuff, or just having a meal or whatever with the parents, and Yoda is finally like, kind of like, well, hey, what's the deal? And the parents are like, maybe we should tell them about this. Maybe we need to spill the beans. All right. Turns out, Hina's not related. She is not some distant relative or anything. What it is that Yoda's parents were associates with Hina's grandfather. All right. And I don't know if they were developing a new technology. They don't really go into specifics or anything, but it turns out that there was some arrangement made where they said, if some girl wearing weird clothes or whatever approaches you and asks to stay or something like that, give her refuge. It was kind of prepared for this. Now, it's assumed that Grandpa died, okay? But nobody says that in such explicit terms. He might be in hiding or captured somewhere or whatever. We don't know. In the dream, he did seem sickly, so it's more likely than not that he's gone, but we don't know. Okay, so now we know that Hina's not a relative. She is born, has a mother and a father, and the father is still alive and kicking somewhere here in Japan. Okay, so Yoda learns all this and tells Hina, and Hina's like, okay, whatever. Hina knows the deal already. Okay, she already knows the deal. She pretty much knows what's going to happen, but she also knows that Yoda isn't going to let this lie. So they end up hunting down the father. Okay, the father comes across as a real jackass, but in context, maybe not so much. All right, here's the deal. And all my little reviews are basically episode summaries, lots of spoilers and everything, but this one's huge, so I need to throw that out there. If you haven't seen the episode yet, definitely go watch the episode before you continue on with this. Now, Hina's father, the setting is, they enter into the living room or whatever, and, the dad is sitting there, and the dad has apparently remarried, has new kids and everything. The dad does not recognize Hina. No clue. None at all. And, one little funny thing is Yoda, gets served some tea, but they don't give Hina anything. And Yoda's like, oh my God, they can't see her. She's invisible to these people. Maybe it's in my head. And he starts freaking out. And yeah, she was just bringing her a drink later. It was dumb. All right. Well, the father, Yoda says, hey, this is your daughter. And he kind of freaks out. And the new wife, she freaks out. She drops her drink, freaks out. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. It's like it's this devastating news. They're not happy to see her. The mother's devastated. Okay, well, it's not Hina's mother. Keep that in mind. The father remarried. We learn that Hina's mother ended up committing suicide out of guilt. What kind of guilt was this? Well, Hina originally was born with something called Logos syndrome. And apparently what this is some kind of muscle degradation, okay? It's genetic. There's no cure for it. If you have it, you're going to die, okay? And when Hina was about 7 years old, basically she's on the verge of death or something. I'm assuming a little bit here because there's a few details that they don't quite go into. And essentially what happens is, the mother was guilt-ridden, blaming herself for this genetic anomaly, couldn't stand to see her child going through that and offed herself, okay? Now, the father, thinking this is pretty much the end or whatever, he abandons Hina, okay? Leaves Hina with the grandfather. And he goes on and basically moves on with his life, finds a new wife, has kids, new family, all this stuff. And it sounds really, really terrible to begin with, but I have a feeling what the actual situation is that the father, like maybe the grandfather convinced the father to, hey, she's going to die soon, move on with your life, I'll take it from here, I'll do what I can. Some kind of, it's not a normal situation. It can't be a normal situation by any means. Okay, well, this is where it gets a little odder, okay? Like, the father doesn't really want anything to do with Hina. And Hina obviously has no desire to do anything with the father. Like Hina doesn't seem to be mad at the father. The father's not mad at Hina. It's just like, hey, the situation is like, hey, it's best that these two just don't mix. Okay? It's better for everyone if separate lives don't mix, just chill. It's kind of odd. It's, Yoda, of course, is getting upset and everything, but yeah, that's what it is. So, Hina ends up going back with Yoda to go home to his parents' house. Okay, so this kind of gets really odd and everything, but at the very end of the episode, and I'm talking after the credits, this is one of those episodes where you have to watch past the credits. There's a little bit of a tidbit there, because at the end of the credits, when everybody's back home and everything, at Hina's father's place, Hiroto, the hacker guy, along with the old assassin dude or whatever the heck his name is, shows up at his door. Oh man, okay, so they're hot on the trail, okay? They know where Hina is soon, presumably. Alright, so eventually hacker guy's going to be catching up. That's a given. But I'm sitting here trying to figure out, this is where the theory craft comes in, what is Hina? Okay, the grandfather was obviously a scientist, and he's kind of made himself disappear, right? And tried to make Hina disappear. Why? I'm thinking it's some kind of forbidden technology or something. Okay, when Hina woke up, which is apparently 337 days ago or something along those lines, okay? And she's obviously older than 7 years old, right? And so what happened in this time? Something is really out of place. What did the grandfather do? Now, this is of course just theory craft, but I'm thinking that, Hina, I'm thinking her original body's gone. I'm really thinking her original body's gone, and or something computerized in her head to counteract this genetic disease or whatever. Because the genetic disease, I guess, destroys neurons or whatever, but let's say you stick a microchip in your head or turn your whole brain into a computer and rewire everything. Okay, you're good, right? But I don't know if that's... See, on one hand, I want to say, okay, well, maybe she's a clone. Maybe she's a clone. I don't know. And, they fixed the anomalies and put her in there. But that wouldn't really give reason for Hacker Guy to be involved in this, okay? I'm thinking there has to be some kind of computer thing involved in this. Now, is she an android? Is she, full-on android where they took Hina's mind and somehow was able to transplant a soul, quote unquote, a ghost in the shell, to use another anime. I'm not sure if that's it either. I'm thinking there's something with Hina's brain that's actually like maybe a computer, because think about it. If she was, the ghost in the shell, Makoto type deal where she could access the internet at any point, this actually explains a lot of the stuff early on. Hina saying, running off to get an umbrella in the first episode when it's perfectly daylight out. If she had access to the internet and immediate weather reports or whatever and radar outlook, well, if she could access that with her brain, she would know that it's going to rain real soon, right? And, the same thing with the traffic incident. Okay, there's a traffic incident up there, maybe we should, walk instead of taking the bus. Well, she could have got something online that said, hey, there's an accident up there, there's delays. She would know the traffic report and just say, okay, we're going to get there quicker by walking. The horse race thing. That's a little bit more because that would involve downloading a lot of statistics and stuff or whatever, analyzing it, running simulations in her head, and then being like, okay, this is probably the result. And of course, it's a very, very good guess because a supercomputer would essentially be taking all these simulations, putting them together, coming up with the most likely results. Okay, a lot of this can kind of be explained now. But, what about the fight? Yoda and the Yakuza dude, the gangster guy. They can't really explain that. I mean, you can kind of take his form, and that's a stretch. That one's a bit of a stretch. But I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, okay, I'm thinking one, she somehow has access to the internet or a massive database, something. She's pulling information in. I'm thinking that she's in part at least computer. I'm thinking that she's another part. I don't want to say AI. I'm thinking like the first successful transplant of a human soul, if I put it that way. So, what the heck is she really? We're probably going to find out a lot sooner than later. According to this, there's only 4 days to the end of the world, and that's kind of another thing. Is it going to be an apocalypse? A world-ending apocalypse? No. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. I think the 4 days is when she's assuming Hiroto catches up with her. That's her guess based on all the information or whatever that she can muster up. That's about when the corporation and hacker guy are going to catch up with her. And it kind of makes sense that she's part computer or something, because then why would they need like the super best crazy hacker guy in the world to pursue her? Why would it not just be something else? But it also kind of begs the question, is like, why wouldn't Hina then be able to counter that? Something, I don't know. Maybe the data only comes one way. She can't put data up or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's 4 days till the end of the world, and my God, we're figuring out a lot of stuff, and I think I got more questions than answers this time around. But this is definitely a turning point. In the next episode, I can only imagine where it's going to go. Oh my God, something crazy is about to happen, and I'm hoping in that next episode we see it. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button. This is racking my brain because I want to say Ghost in the Shell type deal, internet access. I want to say all this kind of crazy stuff, but man, I haven't been terribly right early on, so who knows if I am now. But just have to wait toward episode 9. We'll see you in the next video.